Welcome back to our series, Hailing Frequencies Open, where we chat about what you chatted about while we were chatting about Star Trek. So, without any further delay, let's get into what you say.
They're hailing us. Hailing frequencies open.
Captain, we're receiving 285,000 hails.
I wish I knew what to tell them.
So, right off the bat, we have a comment from Captain Olimar from our previous last week Hailing Frequencies Open video. He says, first, I will never complain when Dorn wins any award for any reason. I think I need the rating scale every week. 3 Kazintis is like a code of honor level episode, right? And the answer is yes. 3 Kazintis, it means you hated it and it's
Bad.
the worst
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Anyways, he says on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, Nagilam's episode got like a 4 out of 10 for me. I'm sure this is all really important to get right, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that the comment from Deep Burrito is real and he worked as like a grip on set. And I do too.
Yeah, I know. That is cool.
Then he says, I liked from my office bringing up that Data is obviously a trusted and valued member of the crew, yet they seem to know very little about him, almost like he just showed up yesterday and they gave him the uniform.
Yeah, I do really find that to be pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Like the more we talk about it, the less sense it makes.
The thing that's more upsetting too is like there are other characters on the ship who have less backstory given. Like Worf almost has nothing. Like at least we've gone to Data's like world where they found him and we've met his brother and they've talked like there's more world building with him. Worf, he says a couple lines and then they're more respectful and more understanding and more familiar with him than Data.
Well, he's a Klingon.
Yeah. I really liked Caleb's point that Bones was just critical of how Spock acted outwardly and that he felt that he was too cold and calculating when making command decisions or when interacting with the crew. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's what makes the grumpy doctor character and the cold calculating computer character go well together.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, you know?
Yeah.
So just to outwardly be like racist to an android is not in line with what Bones even was about. So
Right, exactly. He says, man, Leonard Nimoy sure was great.
yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, where's he? Where's he in this show? Where's he in this show?
I'm not sure.
Huh. That would be nice.
That would be nice, wouldn't
Yeah. Should just start watching TOS again.
it? Just back right out and go back to the TOS episodes.
Yep.
Pulaski seems to have something else going on under the scenes, like Lore hurt someone she loved before boarding the Enterprise, and now she can't trust androids.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree. It totally feels like there is, like he said, an android hurt somebody or did something, or it's like she trusted some sort of automated system to like save somebody's life, but it still killed them. Almost like the iRobot problem. Remember in the flashback, they crash into the water, and then the robot comes and saves him because his
Yeah.
chances of survival are higher, like higher statistics of survival.
Yeah, he lets the daughter drown. That's an example of a story that's done better.
It's just that if they, and I don't think they do. I don't remember the next like 18 episodes, 19 episodes really well. I generally remember what the plot is about, but every single scene I don't remember. So I don't think that they go forth and like explain why she hates Data so much, but it would be nice if they did.
Yeah.
And then he concludes, keep up the good work, fellas. Well, we appreciate that, Captain Alimar. We're doing our best to keep it entertaining and just generally be fun to watch.
Yeah. That's our goal.
Then from my office set on the same video from last week. He says, I do get the argument for Nagilum wanting to try out a number of unaliving methods. I won't judge you for taking his side. Hey,
You
we're
just gotta
just,
try a few things.
yeah, we just gotta, you know, think things out a little bit.
Hey, if they all act like that crew member that he killed did, I'd want to see what happened to him. Yeah, yeah.
So he has a question.
Yeah,
Who wins the fight? Nagilum or Q?
I feel like I don't know enough about Q
Fair.
at this point, but seems like Q can control like environments and total like thought processes, and he's a Superman style villain where he's just
He can do everything.
all powerful and there'd be no need for anything else, you know?
Yeah.
And the Galen just is a wormhole essentially that can hurt people. So probably Q, right? I mean,
Seems like the right answer. Captain Lamar commented on that and said that he'd say Q because as far as godlike beings go, he seems less limited than the Gilum, and Q never had a problem just teleporting into Picard's bed. So,
or teleporting like all of them somewhere else.
right, or creating like a whole planet or something with French pigmen.
French Pigman, yeah, I hate to give it to Q, but that seems appropriate.
I really would hate giving it to Q. From my office also says on that video, he says, Michael Dorn for the Popcorn Award. What?
Well, I mean, it's all right to be wrong. It doesn't really matter. He can be wrong as much as he likes. It doesn't affect my day.
it does it does nothing to me. Well, next is another comment from Captain Alimar, but on our Elementary Dear Data review. He says, the game is afoot. We did it, guys. We finally got a truly good episode of Next Gen. Only took like 30 episodes, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and the next one keeps the consistency alive. Just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water.
Exactly. This is a personal note, but I absolutely love Sherlock Holmes stuff, and the aesthetics of this time period looks great and fits the crew well. Looking at you, Worf. Very much so. We agree very much.
Yeah,
Data is a perfect fit as Holmes, too, and it's fun to see the crew do stuff on the ship that isn't work, which was nice. How
that's
does the
true.
crew spend its free time? It's nice to get a glimpse into their regular lives. Yeah, it's one of the things that like we talked about how it's kind of silly that apparently they're out in space and there's nothing of interest happening, but at the same time, it does make them feel more real that they're just kind of like playing games and hanging out and stuff. So
Yeah, that's true.
Pulaski is probably at her best here, and I really like her costume. It's probably the last kind thing I say about her.
Yeah,
She has that little hat, right?
just got a cool hat. Yeah,
Yeah. I liked Andrew's point that the computer sure sucked at creating a unique Holmes story. ChatGPT could have done a better job. Yes, agreed. Also, the discussion about the holodeck, it's the transporter all over again. Honestly, I think it's a good thing that TNG could make something as interesting in its function as the transporter is. I think as the show goes on, they definitely try to flesh out and like make the holodeck make more sense and be more of like a specific thing. But in these early episodes, they write it to be too much like an alien planet that the crew are going on, like in the old TOS series. It's like, wouldn't it be fun if Geordi and Data and the Doctor came across a planet that was stuck in a similar, like 19th century London kind of a city, and then they're gonna go and it's like, oh, but it's very Sherlock Holmes like, and that's like the episode. Instead, they're like, we don't have to do that. We have the holodeck. We'll just program a Sherlock Holmes story, and then they can all have fun. And I think that they forget that like it's just a room on the ship and it has its own electrical grid and security protocols and all these things.
Yeah, the holodeck is weird because they explain it like, oh, well, the computer keeps programming like new city blocks like as we walk.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, but the room is only so big, so like, how do you not hit the wall?
Yeah, so basically what they're trying to get you to understand is like it's almost like a treadmill thing where like as you're
Oh,
walking
wow.
like
It's like
the
Disney's new invention.
right, yeah, it's you're supposed to just believe that instead of them progressing down the alley like the background is moving rather than them moving. Really. That's how you're supposed to view it, but obviously they're on sets and it's realistic looking. So because it doesn't look computer generated, it looks realistic. Your
Yeah.
brain doesn't go like, "Oh, the room is moving." Then he goes on to say Moriarty is the clear winner. He even makes Pulaski's scenes fun and interesting.
Mm.
While I do agree that it is a miss that Data didn't get a satisfying conclusion, the scene between Picard and Moriarty is just great and really makes the episode stand out. And I agree too.
Yeah.
I after we had the review, I kind of was thinking about it and I totally agree that they just needed to instead of having the boat scene where it's broken, Picard and Geordi are having a nice thing, if they have time, still include that. But if they didn't, remove that scene and have the scene where Pulaski and Data and Geordi or something where they talk about that Data failed and now he's becoming more human and he's going to learn from this.
Yeah.
That needed to be
Since
the concluding scene.
since that was the whole point of the episode.
Correct. Them having the
Not
Picard Geordi thing where the ship is broken, but the captain's not mad at you was like it's fine, but not really what I cared about.
Yeah.
But to his point, all the Picard Moriarty stuff at the end where they're in his like lair, his chambers or whatever is like again, it's fantastic because we're two British actors and they're giving it their all and they make the scenes wonderful.
Yeah, it's good.
Then he says endings of TNG do this a lot. They could cut to Data talking to Geordi about what they learned in their misadventure, but instead they do something unrelated and cut the credits. Which is true. I should have read that before I commented, but it is sadly a thing that they do frequently. I think in the early seasons. I'm gonna be surprised if they do that come like season 3, 4. I just don't remember the show being so poorly written as it goes on.
Mm.
Obviously, season 2 is a lot better than season 1, but I always feel like the things I complain about aren't really a thing come the future. But we'll see. This is really the first time of like tearing apart the series.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see.
Then he concludes, I think I call this one just a period piece episode. It's not heavy enough into the dynamics of how everything is going on, just an excuse to do Sherlock stuff, which is true.
Yeah, that's
It's that
how holodeck stuff feels to me anyway.
yeah, it's all been very circumstantial and just like fun nonsense episodes. It's like the episode I talked about. We didn't watch it, but like Kirk and Spock go down to a planet that another ship left like a giant book on the Chicago mobs of 1920s and these alien people who look just like humans read the book and then they become mobsters. So when Kirk and Spock return to the planet to like check up on them, they're all like gangsters and stuff. And they all talk real funny and all that. And like that's the episode.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that is the type of thing that they're now doing with the holodeck.
Yeah.
Instead, it would be like, well, Kirk's reading a book on the 1920 Chicago mobsters. Be like, wouldn't that be fun to do on the holodeck? And then they would go on there and he would bring Spock and then they would get into some sort of trouble. Like that's the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think that's better. It's a pretty funny concept, actually. Like human tampering.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just makes me think of it. It's like that's like the first thing I always think of when the holodeck type stuff happens.
Yeah.
Then he says, "Great episode, multiple thumbs up, so many akudas. Thanks for the review as always, fellas." Fellas. He didn't give us a popcorn award, so we don't know who his pick was. Unless he says Moriarty is the clear winner, so maybe he's saying
Ah,
Daniel Davis is the popcorn award. Possible.
I think that could be, yeah.
I think it could be. And then next we have our comment from my office on elementary dear data, and he starts. I can't wait for your The Nanny rewatch podcast.
Oh my God. Wow. I forgot we talked about the nanny.
Yeah,
Oh
The
my God.
Nanny.
That's how she became a nanny. It's good. Good stuff. Yeah. Fran Drescher, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, she was something else, huh?
I didn't watch it like,
I liked
yeah, I
her.
didn't really hate the show, so it was okay.
She obviously put on like a
Oh,
much more annoying
yeah.
accent for that show, but she was good. It was one of those shows where it was like, remember, as like, so as kids, like our parents had jobs sometimes or did stuff where like
Oh, yeah.
we had to be like in a room with just like an old TV that had three stations on it.
Yes.
And like the nanny was always on, and I just like that's when I would watch the nanny. It's this nostalgia thing, but like I don't, as an adult, I don't have any interest in watching it.
Yeah, the funny thing is, it was always like somebody would come over, like a grandparent or like an older friend, but for some reason the TV was always on instead of like sitting in the living room and just talking. It would be like we have to have the TV on.
Yeah,
And so one of my parents would always put it on like a quote unquote safe channel kind of a thing. And it's
yeah,
on some random thing and it only played like
yeah.
wholesome television essentially.
Uh-huh.
And so the nanny would always come on and
Yeah.
when the conversation got kind of dry, I would be watching the nanny.
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad if your family's that boring.
But
You're like, wow,
Fran
how is she
Drescher
gonna get out of this one?
oh no. But Fran Drescher will always be, I'll always enjoy her. One, because she fought really hard during the latest actor strikes. Like she's the head of the actor
Mm,
guild or whatever. So she fought really hard. I saw a lot of interviews and a lot of statements and stuff, and she was like very kind and worked very diligently for all these background people that weren't getting paid, which is why they went on strike and all this stuff.
that's cool.
And then the second thing is she's in Weird Al Yankovic's first movie UHF.
Oh,
So
oh, yeah,
she's in. She's
yeah.
in like Flynn. Then he goes on to say, "May I also say, I'm from Virginia originally, and since moving up north, I've noticed that there is a difference in the way we say the words like elementary. Up here, folks say it with more emphasis on the Terry, while I say it with more emphasis on the men. Elmen- elementary.
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 I don't know how to do it. Um,
Oh, that's gonna have to be a sticker for Ed Mark stars.
Well, what's really
Elementary.
funny that you say that. Apparently, Edmark Starr is originally from Virginia too, and they were him and from my office were
Oh
going back and
no,
forth about it. So he might actually really enjoy that.
that's really funny.
Not sure if you'll find that interesting or not, but I think of it every time I hear someone say elementary or documentary.
Documentary. Oh my God. No, you're just being ridiculous.
That's good.
That's really
We
funny.
appreciate it. Then he goes on to say a slow space week leads to the crew getting to take it easy for a few days. That replica sea ship was pretty cool, which it was.
Yeah.
It almost felt like taking a toy to the office. When I worked in an office, I always had some little something on my desk. I thought you always worked in an office.
And now that he's from his office. He still does.
Yep. He has a lot of little somethings.
Yep.
Definitely nothing as big as a Model C ship, though. As a child, my dad would sometimes build Lego sea ships that looked pretty awesome, and he loved things like this. This was
That's cool.
before the advent of all these instructions and sets. Did either of you ever have interest in building a Model C ship, Lego or otherwise?
I always wanted to build a ship in a bottle, but I never had the
Yeah,
patience for it.
yeah, that's true. I kind of had that in the back of my head. Kind of growing up, I was more of a train guy than a boat guy. I don't dislike boats or ships, but I definitely more onto the trains. Us building the Lego boat thing has been really fun. I enjoyed doing that.
Yeah. I think I remember like after I saw Stuart Little, I wanted to do like motorized boats, like
Cool.
sailboats. Remember in that movie how he's
Yes,
on the
yeah.
boat? Yeah.
I went over to a friend's house a number of months ago, and he had one of the OG like Lego pirate ship things, like in a case.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, that's really cool," and I really like it. But then I see all the memes on the internet where it's like, as a child, you never got the pirate ship or the Lego castle, and now you go onto eBay to get it, and it's like quadruple the price type of thing.
Yeah.
But back then, it was only like $75 or something. And now like people want like $1,700 for it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So I don't know. I definitely like. I love. I mean, obviously, Caleb is a prop channel, and me in general. Like, obviously, I love like models and like ship building type things. But
Yeah, I don't know. I had like ships and stuff, but it wasn't anything that like I had built.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It was always like just display pieces and stuff. I remember when it's like long time ago, like when I would like dream of having like a house and an office. I wanted it to be like a nice I wanted to be like a nice mahogany desk with like like all the nautical stuff on it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like I have this like legitimately on my desk, this like this
Oh yeah.
nautical dial and the sextant. But no, I used to like all that like nautical stuff, like the scopes and you know how you picture like a lawyer's office and it's like mahogany and
Yeah.
it's got like the brass looking glass from like the pirate times and the
Yeah.
sextants
Yeah.
and like the big like T-Rex skull that's like real that he bought like stole from a museum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's about as
Yeah.
close as I ever got. And now you look around my office and it's just toys mostly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think like the only thing that I have that's like super like nautical theme is out in the living room. I have like a Gordon Fisherman like bust of a
Oh yeah.
of like a sailor.
That is the funniest thing you own, honestly.
I love it.
Is the dude from the fish steak packaging. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's
Well,
so random.
it is so random, and that's why I enjoy it. Then he goes on to say, "Welcome to 221B Baker Street, but the case is solved before it's even really started. Wouldn't Data and Jordy know that Data had all these literary works stored? Yes.
No,
Oh,
not a chance. Didn't know anything in this episode.
the fun is in the attempt to solve the mystery, but they should have known there was essentially no mystery to be solved since he knows all these stories." Which is true. I mean, like, I can kind of understand Jordy, like, maybe being like, oh, yeah, duh. Like, of course you would know all of this. But I don't know. Data, it just seems like Data would have said to him, like, sure, I'll go in there and do that, but, like, why? Why are we doing this? Like, do you just want to see me act as Sherlock Holmes, or do you want me to see if I remember this case? Like, what's the point of going in there?
Yeah, right.
Then here comes Dr. Pulaski again to stir the pot. Time to make a new Holmes story. That couldn't possibly go wrong. Agreed on the safeguards. The computer should have warned them of the potential issues coming from the program parameters and
It's
confirmed.
well, it did. It was like, hey, so how far do you want to take this? And Jordy's like, all the way, baby, all the way.
Computer's like, all right, your funeral.
Data has got to learn to be more human, or Pulaski's never gonna leave him alone. Yeah, I don't think from my office. Well, maybe he's seen it. My old when I was living at home, my old
Oh,
door to my bedroom was black and it had the 220 Baker Street on it with the door knocker. That was from the BBC show
Monster
though.
show, yeah.
Yeah. But it
You
was
just
pretty good.
you just let the cat out of the bag. Now everyone knows.
Oh no. My address.
Now everybody knows that from my office is in our area.
Oh no. Sometimes he's even closer than I think.
Hmm.
Hmm. He never comes out of his office though.
Okay,
Oh
so then he
boy.
goes on to say, if either of you could choose to enter a literary world via the holodeck, what would you choose and why?
Oh God, why he always asks us the hardest questions. Don't you realize we do these like first thing in the morning?
He does, and he doesn't care.
He doesn't. He does it on
That's because
purpose.
he's already over there filming. So,
I'm gonna go talk to him. So I'm not gonna be a Geordie. I'm gonna make it so that obviously I can't get hurt.
okay.
My first choice would be like the world of The Witcher and just be in this like horrible medieval
Like,
Polish, just fighting monsters and
wow.
yeah, it'd be super
Ah.
super fun. Yeah. And my second choice would be like the Lord of the Rings world.
Mm, wow.
Just wandering around, you know. You would come into the holodeck and I would just be like at Bag End, just like sitting there drinking tea
Yeah.
on the
Just,
porch with Frodo, you know,
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
hanging out.
Yeah, it's tough. The two books I really, really enjoy a lot are Fahrenheit 451 and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Ooh, yeah.
And for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, I think the only thing I would really want to see is the holodeck recreate the wretch like accurately because in all of media, except for like two things I've ever seen, he's always like flat top, staples on his head, cut on his head, green, and he moans and he's in like a
Hmm.
suede jacket. And it's like, but that's not what he's described as in the book at all. Like, not at all.
Yeah.
He's basically like, you can see like his veins and stuff, and he's like yellow and he's like gross looking. Like he's a corpse, so he looks gross.
Yeah.
And Fahrenheit 51, there's a sequence in the book where they talk about a mechanical hound chasing down Montag, whatever. And
Hmm.
and he jumps into the river to get away from the mechanical hound. And I've always wondered what the sequence when he's running into the river and he's listening to everybody on their TVs like talk about that they're looking for him or something like that. I don't know.
That's
It's
cool.
tough because like the two worlds I would pick are pretty like gruesome or like dystopian or like false utopian.
I think, yeah, I think we both have that because I think that's the whole point is that we use media to escape reality, and sometimes we use it to enter places that are worse than our reality to make us feel better about our like
Yeah, maybe.
our life, you know? Like you know,
Yeah, I don't
it's like,
know.
it's like why I enjoy Fallout so much because it's this dystopian nuclear Holocaust future. And it's like, wow, that would suck.
But I can't wait to
And it's
play.
like, can't wait.
Yeah.
Hacking it. That's an interesting topic, right? Because
Yeah. I think
if we were like on the brink of like nuclear war,
yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily would be like running around the wasteland and
no.
having fun.
I would never
It's
come
like
out of
when
the
there
wall.
was a pandemic, we didn't play any pandemic games.
Right, right. Yeah, so great question. Thanks for making us stretch our
It's-
minds early in the morning.
Yeah, it's great.
Then he goes on to say, due to Geordi's prompt, Moriarty has leveled up. Now he's Data's equal. He knows about the great power, computer, and that they're on a vessel of some sort. Time for Data and Geordi to solve the real mystery at hand. To quote Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation, a game is the foot.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Oh man.
Pulaski, after egging things on, got what she deserved, which was being kidnapped. I think they should keep her. Case closed.
Yeah.
I agree with Andrew. Pulaski is a tool. Okay, he said instrument, but we all know what he meant.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This whole situation is her fault, in my opinion. Jordy had a poor choice of words on creating the villain character, but it wouldn't have even happened had Pulaski not gotten involved, which is
Yeah. I,
very true.
I said it was her fault too. It's 100% Pulaski's fault. I mean,
Yeah. Then he says,
yes.
pies. Some are meat and some are sweet, but most of them will taste like feet. That's how-
You're like the only one that picked up on that pie salesman guy too.
I loved it. I caught the paper issue as well. How does Data take the paper out of the holodeck? There are no hollow emitters outside the holodeck on this particular ship. Odd miss to
There
me, but this is still early days of this era of Star Trek. The trivia section on this was interesting. Thanks for that share.
there are emitters when there's no safety protocols present.
Yeah, maybe what happened is the holodeck taps into the network and then it builds hollow emitters in the corridors.
I really would have liked more to see, because last time we saw the holodeck it was like, oh yeah, go ahead and walk right out that door. And then the mob guys like died. I really would have been like enjoyed this episode if they were, Picard's like, yeah, go ahead, go look at the ship, and Moriarty just walks out of the holodeck and like doesn't disappear.
Ooh.
And they were like, oh my God. And then he got to like walk around and see the ship. I think that would have been I would have enjoyed that.
And then he says the foot is a game, and then he
The
runs down the
foot,
corridor. Yeah, I agree. It definitely would
it would have
be
been good.
interesting to see Moriarty like do more on the ship. I totally
It
agree.
would have solved that paper issue, I'll tell you that much.
That's true. That's true. I think it weirdly is supposed to be a replicator thing, like they talked about in trivia. I think it was supposed to be proof that Moriarty could come off of the holodeck. They just didn't do it.
Mm, but they should have done it.
They should have. Then he says, did you know Data handed the paper to Geordi upside down so he could flip it over right side up for the camera? Gasp. The Enterprise.
He knows about the ship, Johnny, don't you understand?
I'm glad that Picard didn't flip out when it was determined that the override was enabled by Geordi's poorly worded prompt. The whole taking control of the ship from the holodeck seems weird as well. Andrew makes a great
Yeah.
point. The system is isolated from everything else. I'm going to chalk up all these weird holodeck issues to maybe just being an early days thing, and they're figuring out TNG and how this new tech works, which is more likely than not the issue since how I don't remember holodeck stuff going forward being like as janky. But there is a couple episodes I do remember that it's also weirdly janky, so we'll see. We'll see. I did enjoy how Pulaski asks Moriarty if he wants to come with her out of the holodeck. That would have been great to see him just disappear. So he thinks it would have been a good idea to see him disappear.
Mm, I don't think he would have.
I don't think he would have either. 19th Century Wharf. Pretty funny to see. I wonder how a Star Trek 19th Century spinoff would have worked. Steampunk technology, Victorian style uniforms, things like that. Yeah, you ever seen like those artists that go and they take something and they make them look all steampunky?
Yes, I do remember steampunk stuff.
It'd be fun. You'd get like a little electrical or smokestack on Geordi's visor. That would be all like
Cool.
ears, and then maybe Data would be a man, but he has candles for an eyes. I don't know. It's
I
crazy.
think that steampunk stuff didn't last that long.
It did, and then kind of petered out. But there are people out there who still are like really into it. I think Andrew was
Really
like
into
a
it.
really big fan of steampunk, if I remember correctly.
He was a big punk head.
Big punk head.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I loved that like steam age stuff. I have this great book entitled Steampunk Style. And there's all
Oh,
sorts of cool steampunk things in it. Haha. Yeah, I made a few things. Remember, we used to go to the auction.
yeah.
I bought like a whole lot of like pocket watches, like
Oh,
old
okay.
timey like pocket watches that would like clip to your tie and then go
Yeah,
like around into your vest.
yeah.
I bought like a whole box of those for like $5. I
Wow,
still have them in the basement, but like some of them I would take apart and use like the gears and make like little steampunk things.
that's cool. Well, it sounds like you're gonna have to make a steampunk phaser.
Yeah, I really don't think it's as popular as it was. This book was published in 2012.
That sounds about right. Then he says, London simulation is falling down. Moriarty wants to continue to exist, which makes sense now that he knows he's alive in a new life form. Suddenly, everybody becomes reasonable about how energy and matter are interchangeable. Then he goes on to say, here we go. Let me get this all straight. So we have biological matter, real people, matter that's just energy, photons and force fields, holograms, within the holodeck that can't leave. Then replicator style matter, food and drinks, that is actual matter. Am I right? I wonder if the replicator matter is less complex and that's why it can be real. Is this why the paper could leave? Maybe a humanoid is too complex to fully create as real person. My head hurts now.
Yeah, well, that's what the holodeck does. Makes your head hurt for no reason.
I think the real reality of it is the writers didn't really think of that far ahead and really think about what they were saying. But in Star Trek context, I do think that the holodeck interchanges the photon force fields and the replicator material. I think they interchange with each other so that when you're on the holodeck, you can eat things, you can drink things, and actually feel like you're eating and drinking those things rather than it just being like, light is just splashing or material is like up against your face and nothing's happening.
That's how I eat and drink anyway. Yeah, the whole eating is interesting to me, you know?
That's how I would interpret it, that the replicator and the holodeck are they work together in that thing.
Yeah, which means that it can produce organic material,
Or like
meaning
a
it has the capability to create human like it could
well,
make don't you think it could make Moriarty like able to have like a body?
I don't know. I've always wondered if the replicator is, because it's using material, it's using like matter in some fashion to create the thing. And I don't know if Star Trek is trying to say that it literally is taking atoms and ingredients and like making an apple pie and then you can eat it and it's delicious because it's reconstructed an entire actual apple pie, or it's
Yeah.
basically done what we have in our society now, which is it makes like nutrient paste, but then it injects all
Oh,
these other things into it so it tastes like apple pie. Because there's an
yeah, I don't.
argument I don't think they've gotten into in the show that when they drink, it's called synthahol. And
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
right, and synthahol is synthesized alcohol. So it has
Yeah.
all of the benefits of alcohol, but you don't get inebriated from
So I say, what's the point?
it. So I almost like wondered if the matter, the replicator matter that comes out, is it sort of like a synthahol where it's like, yup, oh man, you're getting all the vitamins and nutrients and all the things that you would be getting from this meal, but it's not really, you're not really eating that. So I
That's
don't,
weird, dude. That's weird.
I'm sure somewhere in some book somewhere they really break it down, but you make a really good point that if the replicator technology is tied into the holodeck and it creates semi-organic or organic material for people to consume, is that what makes it dangerous to turn off the power to the holodeck because the replicator technology will discontinue the things it has made and it confuses organic material with people and therefore will like rip apart people essentially.
Yeah,
That's the
that makes
only
sense.
that's literally the first time I've thought about it like that, and it does make sense, but they because they don't explain it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because on the surface you just picture it being it's just all computer generated, but it's like
Right.
when you start thinking about like, well, she physically drank the tea and ate the
Right.
biscuits.
Right, right,
Then
right, right.
the computer is also creating things,
Yes.
which
I
means it's making matter, which is what humans are made of. So if you just turn it off, it just would deconstruct all the matter, which yeah, would be bad for a human to be in there. So yeah, it's
but then
interesting.
like I think you and Andrew said, like that would make it seem like why would you ever go into that thing? Like,
Yeah, I
could
after
you
this incident with Jordy, I would just put like a,
yeah.
put caution tape over the door and be like, "Well, we're done with this."
I was thinking about it, like, could you imagine putting on like a VR headset in your house or like at the mall and then like the power goes out and you're like, ah, that's it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Then he goes on to say, I don't think that this resolution was Picard defeating Moriarty. It basically just sidelined him. Maybe more of a stalemate. Though Data probably should have thought that this was also possible. Thankfully, Moriarty's okay with being saved to the computer's memory, no time passing until a time he can be brought out of the holodeck. Cool setup.
I view it more as like a neutral like respect.
Mm. Yeah,
They both kind of came to this understanding like I don't want to kill you and I don't want to be dead. So like I won't terminate your programming.
yeah, basically, it's like just because I don't know how to help you to live better, I won't kill you now.
Yeah. Till I figure out a way to kill you permanently, just eat your biscuits.
Then he concludes another excellent review. Great job. Then he says, computer, create an adversary capable of defeating Will and Caleb. Have fun with that.
Wow, that's really rude.
Then he says, in conclusion, Popcorn Award. Gotta go for a tie with Patrick Stewart and Daniel Davis. So
It's good.
now's the time, Caleb. Who does get the Popcorn Award?
It's got to be Moriarty.
Daniel Davis.
Yeah, he's good. I'll give it to him.
He is really good. And that's
Hope to
how
see
he
him again.
became Moriarty.
Now, here's the thing, right? If they brought Moriarty back
Mhm.
in like Picard,
Okay,
I'd be like, wow, that's a pretty cool payoff.
sure.
But they're not gonna.
Well, Daniel Davis is still around, so you never know.
That'd be cool.
Well, thank you so much for all of your comments, your thoughts, your questions, your opinions. We appreciate deep diving on a fun episode like that. We're not sure how yesterday's episode went, but
Went great.
we are looking forward to your comments on that. I genuinely and probably Caleb too will be very interested to see if anybody enjoyed it a lot more than I did. I know Caleb kind of enjoyed it a little bit more.
I enjoyed it more than you did.
Yes, yes. So I'm curious to see what other people think in general. But before we conclude the episode, let's talk about what's so popular this week.
This is popular, so popular. This is popular this week.
So this is from KK Can
In
2020.
2020, know him
And
well.
I can't imagine this is a real card. I don't even know what this is. I don't know if this is like Magic the Gathering or something. I know they
Looks
have
like
like
magic.
Star Trek cards, so but I don't think this is that. Somebody designed it a card where they skip their turn and draw 3 cards.
Get in the
Dipping their
closet.
toes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
pretty good. You wanted adventure? How's this? The old adrenaline going? Good boy. Now get in the closet.
That's like the only thing she does in that movie.
Yes.
That's pretty funny. I don't think that's real, but there also has been a lot of stuff in Magic that I've seen that is like real, but like from other franchises and stuff for some reason. Don't know.
And then with a couple days ago being first contact day, this time instead of
Oh
everybody
yeah.
pooping on Star Trek because it's May the 4th, this time we get to poop on Star Wars.
Oh wow.
So Scrat,
That's funny.
this is from the TNG subreddit, and user Scrat Slarty Bartfast shared this picture.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Our
Use the
hyperdrive is damaged. Now what? And faithful old Kenobi says, use LaForge, Luke.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long,
Long
long
time.
time.
And that's not a spoiler now because I know that he's an engineer.
Exactly. You'd be like, what is this? What is this trash?
Why is he fixing it? He's the nav pilot. Always will be the nav pilot.
Yeah, we enjoy that. I've talked about it before. When I was a kid, I wrote a story of Star Wars and Star Trek people coming together. And
I think it'd be cool. It'd be a cool crossover.
honestly, it's like one of the few things besides like the DC universe and the MCU like coming together, like having Batman and Superman in like an Avengers movie. The only
Yeah.
other thing I would love to see other than that is like a Star Wars Star Trek crossover.
Yeah.
Because the really fun thing is, Star Trek primarily, almost 99% of it takes place within the Milky Way galaxy. Like they don't go, it's not in the universe, it's in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is in a galaxy far, far away. So it's like technically they could exist in the same world.
That's a good point.
And
They're out past the neutral zone.
yeah, well, the galactic barrier, right? Like they're past.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know and not to mention the Star Wars. Star Wars takes place like in the outer rim, which is like not their planetary central hub either.
Right, right. Well, the funny thing is too, I was thinking, what if the galactic barrier infects people with midi-chlorians, and that's what Gary Mitchell was? He was becoming a Jedi master.
No,
There's the question for all you people out there.
don't do that.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
No, because he immediately turned to the dark side.
Yeah. He didn't know how to control
Um, do it.
it.
Gary Mitchell just wakes up in bed. And do it.
Well, we'll let that linger for you folks down in the comments. Let us know what you think the galactic barrier. Does that help us connect to the Star Wars universe? You let us know down.
Down below.
We appreciate you doing all the fun, excellent things down below on this video. We appreciate you sticking with us. Nice to have a fun community and laugh about a lot of ridiculous nonsense.
It is.
As always, you can go over to Caleb's channel, watch something over there. We're usually talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, so the next time we're covering like the Ginyu saga into the Frieza saga. The Ginyu saga is like 5 episodes.
If you like body swapping, you'll love our review.
Oh. Oh, wow, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's where we'll leave you. Thank you for all of your support and the love and attention. And until next time, hailing frequencies closed.
No, no. Why, you little.